The doom doom, the doom doom, the doom doom. I got some energy today, y'all. I rarely come on here with energy, but man, I'm just so excited to be back here with you people. And let me tell you, man, we got a great show for y'all planned today. I'm gonna open it up by talking about what happened to our community. Then I'm gonna go into Lil Boosie versus Lil Nas X. I think it's round three. Hell, I don't know. I can't keep up with it. Then we're going to talk about Amanda Seals, aka Tiffany, the AKA. Uh, then we're going to transition into who. Hold on, is the shooter the victim? Hold on, the two people that Kyle Rittenhouse killed are not victims. We're going to get into that. Then we're going to talk about DJ TJ needing to STFU, family reunion on a first date, semen retention, and I'm not your mama. But before we get into any of those topics, we got to go, hey, it's the big baby, and I'm back. So let's get into our first topic, man. And the first topic is what happened to our community. I'm going to go to my notes today because, So have we lost our sense of community? Because so often I'm seeing posts, I'm seeing decisions in people's lives where they're making the decisions that are best for them. And part of me says, yeah, you need to do what's best for you and your household. But sometimes doing what's best for you is not best for the community. And what do you owe your allegiance to? Because some studies would say, some writings would tell us that doing what's best for the community is like long term what's doing what's best for you. Sorry, man, my collar's bothering me. But so often, I don't know if we're blinded by the day to day that we feel as if we need to do what's best for ourselves in the moment, and we end up doing that, or is it that maybe we don't feel the proper sense of community? So I think about snitching, right? And especially in the black community, especially in the crime community, because I think we have to, make that be known, is that like snitching is just a no-no. You don't snitch. Well, what if I'm not involved? Am I still not supposed to snitch? And if I am involved and I'm gonna get in trouble for something that I didn't necessarily do, but somebody else did, and I'm caught or I'm there, am I really snitching? Because, we talk about whistleblowers and we praise whistleblowers because oftentimes whistleblowers bring information to our attention that we need. What's the difference between a snitch and a whistleblower? Is it the context? Is it the content of the stuff that they are snitching on or they're blowing the whistle about? Is it because, that the snitch is saving himself and not looking out for somebody else, looking out for maybe the community? Whereas the whistleblower is exposing something that's going on in an organization, that's going on within a government or something like that. And we call them different things, but they're doing the same thing. And oftentimes these behaviors both are frowned upon and shunned because they challenge the power, right? They challenge the leadership, they challenge the decision makers. But do those people need to be challenged? Because I feel like if you are on the up and up, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, if you're solid in what you're doing, if you're confident in what you're doing, you're not running from a challenge. Now, I know this is going to come off as me supporting snitching, which I don't, because I tend to just not worry about things that don't affect me. Like, hey, bro, I try to mind my own business. So when I ask the question, what happened to our community, I fall into the group of people who may not be making the best community decisions because I make decisions for myself. And when we talk about the vaccine here, I repeat, hey, do what works for you and your household. But there's an argument that says that one should take it because it's better for the community as a whole. I don't know. And I'm not trying to make this a vaccine conversation, but I see it in sports. And I support it in sports now before I go here. Like, I see it though. We tell athletes to make the decision that's best for them. We go, hey, man, you get all the money you can. Well, what about making sure that the team has more money to add better players? Do we do that? And some would say that's not my job. That's the team's job to figure it out. I know my worth on the market, and that's what I want to get paid. And to them, I say I have no counter to that because you know what? I want what I'm worth. Sorry, I'm trying to get situated here. All right. So, what happened to our community? I'm afraid, though, that we're going to get away from community because our society has become so polarized that we all choose a side and we stick to that side. And if you're not on our side, we don't want to hear it. If you're not on our side, we don't want to talk to you. And then we make these sub communities, which inside of the larger community, and you know, we miss out. You miss out on different opinions. You miss out on different ideas. You miss out on resources. So I just don't want us to lose community because of differences. I want us to learn how to live with our differences and continue to create a community that looks out for one another because at the end of the day, you need others. Now, I can do bad all by myself. Yes, you can do poorly all by yourself. But if you want to be great, you need a community behind you. It takes a village, right? But let's get into Lil Boosie versus Lil Nas X. Now, this has been an ongoing thing for I don't even know how long, to the point that I'm almost over talking about it. But part of me doing this job is me talking about current events. So let me go. Let me find what I'm looking for here. Because it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. If I can find the post I'm looking for in my saved post. All right. So Lil Nas X comes out and says that he's working on music with Boosie, obviously trolling. And Boosie, not a fan. He responds to Lil Nas X and says, "Stop trolling me, F word." I'm not going to say that. LOL, you a whole B. Playing with a gangster, SMH. You can keep sucking dick and getting F'd in your ass in peace. In peace, excuse me. He's using this is not normal English Boosie's using. Hashtag you hate yourself. I would too if I was you. Lil Nas X, if you something. Oh, if you committed suicide, hashtag committed suicide, you would do this world a huge favor. Nobody wants you here. All right, little Boosie badass. You turn into little Boosie dumbass now. You are, for one, just making yourself not marketable at all. It's bad enough you already got kicked off of We the Street store because you want to be late. They didn't get to fighting because they don't want to let you perform. But now I think you've crossed the line. You can disagree with his lifestyle. You can disagree with his music. You can disagree with everything he stands on. But suicide is not something to play with. And telling this man to kill himself, nobody would miss you. This world would be a better place for that. No, it won't be. Because you don't know the people that he's impacting, the people that he's influencing, the courage that he's given some to live in their own skin and live in their own skin happily. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Lil Nas X. I'm not. But I still respect that he's living his life the way that he wants to, and he's being unapologetically Lil Nas X, if that's who Lil Nas X chooses to be. All right, so, bro, somebody wants him here. This man has parents. He has fans. He has kids. I mean, he doesn't have kids, He has loved ones in his life who care about him. Then his father, Lil Nas X's father, responds to Gucci. How the hell you a gangster rapper promoting drugs, gun violence, degrading women, and getting high every video talking about you're for the kids? Man, sit your old man looking ass down. The game has passed you. We real bankhead over here, not like the guy who claims it. So I'm not gonna get into none of that street stuff because I don't care about that. That's not the life I live. That's not the life that I promote. But my response is same with Pops. Lil Boosie dumbass. Now, how are you going to come after this young man and say that what he's doing is offensive to the kids? Well, what about the kids? What about the kids? Man, raise your kids. Raise your kids in a way that you see fit for them to be the type of adults that you think they should be, or the best type of adults for them to be. But it's not your job to raise everyone else's kids. And let's be honest, Boosie, you don't have the best track record. Your young teenage son, you apparently set up fellatio for that young man for his birthday. I think there are some who would say that's not really okay. The young man was underage. In your music, you talk about violence. I mean, you beat a murder charge. You talk about drugs, sex, you degrade women. And we let you make your music. And whoever wants to listen to your music, they listen to it. And I'm not going to knock anybody for being a fan of Boosie's music because he has songs that I like. But at the same time, I can separate the art from the artist. The way that this man is carrying himself is not okay. And I don't want to hear you say, well, what about the kids? Then what are you doing? What are you doing in your display of art for the kids? And I was having a conversation with some friends about it. And they were like, well, it's different because Nas X makes music for the kids and Boosie doesn't. Sure. Just because he makes music that's TikTok friendly does not necessarily mean he's making it for the kids. Because I see a lot of you grown folks on TikTok. I be seeing y'all reposting your TikToks on your Instagrams and your Facebooks, and y'all 30 on TikTok. So let's not act like there aren't adults who are consuming TikTok. Let's not act like there aren't adults who are making money off of TikTok. But what it boils down to is people are okay with what they believe in being promoted. But if they don't support it, then apparently other people aren't supposed to support it either. So let's get to Boosie's response to Lil Nas X's father. Don't get mad at me because your son came out like that. LOL. I know it hurts. So here's what I pulled from this. In Boosie's opinion, being gay, being a homosexual is wrong. Now, that's Boosie's opinion. I don't subscribe to Boosie's opinion, but that's his opinion. And I think that the message he's trying to say is, I don't want this stuff that is wrong, that goes against my beliefs, being thrown in my face. Now, do I think Lil Nas X is OD with his actions? Absolutely. Do I think that Lil Nas gets propped up a little bit more than he probably should? Absolutely. But do I think that if that it's the end of the world? No. I've listened to gangster rap. I ain't killed nobody. I ain't robbed nobody. I ain't sold no drugs. It's not what I was into. It's not what I was raised to do. So despite the outside influences, I still made the decisions that I made. Now, are we influenced by different things on the outside? Sure, absolutely. But my question is, would you rather your child become a killer or a homosexual? Like would you want them would you want them to live a life that's a lie? Or live a life that's pleasing to you, but it's not pleasing to them? Again, I don't have kids, so who am I to tell parents how to parent their kids? But I like to believe that we would want our kids to be happy. And I know it takes parents a while to get there because we all have parents who set expectations for us. We do. But eventually, most of them, the rational ones, the reasonable ones, realize that it's not their life to live, it's your life to live. And as long as you, their child, is happy, then they can find happiness in that. But what I think is Boosie, like many people in this world now, want to totally control the narrative. They want the world to reflect their views, and that's just not feasible. That's not attainable. And honestly, it's not good for us. We need a world that looks different from what we think. We need our views to be challenged. We need our views to be pushed because guess what? Sometimes seeing things that go against what you believe, going against what you know, it solidifies what you do know and what you do believe. Like I firmly believe that, dating helps you realize who you truly want to be with. You don't know what you don't know until you try it. And if we're gonna like censor ourselves, if we're gonna censor our children from everything, then they grow up in an echo chamber. And then when they're thrust into a world that does not fit their views, does not fit their beliefs, does not fit their upbringing, they're not gonna be ready to respond to it properly. They can't because they haven't had the practice doing it. So Boosie, I just don't get why you care. Goes back to my podcast last week. Why do you care? Why does it affect you? And if it's having an effect on your kids, then maybe you should go about censoring what your kids are consuming. Maybe you should put parental blocks on them. Maybe you shouldn't allow them to use certain social media platforms. I don't know. But it's not Lil Nas X's job to raise your kids, just like it's not your job to raise our kids, like, because my God, Boosie, I like set it off, but I ain't set my kids off with you. I can't do it. I done hit the club. I done, wipe me down, but you ain't gonna wipe my kid down if his diaper's dirty. Not happening. And you may like an INDEPENDENT woman like that, but my kid ain't gonna learn how to be INDEPENDENT around you. They're not. Well, because of you. They're not, because they're not your job. It's not your job to raise my kids. Just like it's not Nas X's job to raise yours. So Boosie, stop being a little dumbass and let little Nas X live, bruh. Oh, now. Amanda. Let's talk about Amanda.
How love you, baby? How love you, baby?
Not gonna lie to y'all, man. I'm scared to have this conversation. Amanda is something like Candyman. Can't look in the mirror and say her name 3 times. Because if I do, I'm done. We might have to start a whole new pod feed. I might have to reinvent myself as somebody else. God knows what happens if we say Amanda 3 times in front of the mirror. And I won't say her last name because that will summon her. But let's talk about Amanda Seales, aka Tiffany, the AKA. So I saw online the other day that some people are outraged about something that Amanda Seales has done. What's new?
How love you, baby?
Don't go too far now, big baby, because you don't want to get canceled messing around with Amanda. So let me pull up the stuff, right? So Amanda Seales is a character on Insecure, and she was portraying an AKA. Let's listen to Amanda Seales talk about it.
Tiffany.
Oops.
Tiffany is a soror. Tiffany is a character on a TV show. I didn't write the character. I play the character. I'm not a soror. I'm an actress, and I'm playing a character on a TV show. And I think reality TV done really got folks fucked up because, it's like, it's all the same, but it's I'm just playing a character. That's it. Tiffany is.
So initially, I rock with Amanda. I'm American. I'm not Greek. So really my opinion on a Greek matter shouldn't matter. But I have a podcast and I like to talk about stuff. And it's Amanda Seals. I get to talk about Amanda Seals, something that she's getting heat for. You know I gotta talk about it. But let's hear some of the responses. Is Amanda Seals an AKA in real life? Because ... Major issues with this question mark. Amanda Seals, an AKA question mark. She's an actress playing a character who's an AKA. I get that the character says she's an AKA. She can wear pink and green, however, not our shield and letters. That's disrespectful. For the record, I'm not a neophyte. I've been a member for AKA for 23 years. Another post. Not me waking up to Soror's upset that Amanda Seals was wearing AKA letters as a character in a TV show. Emoji. I feel like we have bigger problems. Y'all didn't have any issues when Molly was drinking from an AKA mug. Make it make sense. The Oprah face. Shouldn't the disdain for Amanda Seals' character wearing AKA Nelia be directed towards Issa Rae and the producers and not Amanda? Agreed. Amanda's just a character. She's a scapegoat here. She didn't write the character. This whole Amanda Seals AKA situation proves y'all really don't have a life and identity outside of a fraternity / sorority, because this shouldn't even be an issue. Amanda Seals said, leave her alone about her character being an AKA. She says she is not a member in real life. Hashtag insecure. Hashtag whatever. Hashtag it is a serious matter. Those of us who pledge don't play with our organization's letters and shield. But hating on Amanda Seals for respectful portrayal on a TV show is dumb. That's my opinion. The character repped us well. So then, Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated put out a statement. Dear sorors, we were made aware of the unauthorized use of our brand on the HBO show Insecure early yesterday morning, Monday, October 25th, 2021, and are taking steps to protect our brand. Please allow the corporate office to handle this matter. We all have a duty to protect our brand. You can do your part by refraining from engaging with anyone involved in the show or with anyone, including other sorors, on social media about this matter. Thank you for your continued assistance and cooperation. Sisterly, the executive director of the organization. Guess what? She ain't talking to me because I ain't no soror. So I can say whatever the hell I want to say about Amanda Seals wearing the AKA colors and apparently wearing the letters and the shield. And if you look at it, they craftily and strategically covered up the AKA and the shield based on the picture that I'm seeing. I didn't watch the show. I don't watch Insecure. And honestly, I don't support anything that Amanda Seals does because she got me canceled. Y'all remember that now. But we're gonna be quiet now. So I'm pretty sure the Issa Rae, the producers, and all of them, they did this on purpose. They knew it would cause a stir. It would bring more attention to the show, right? They also knew that there was a proper way to represent the organization so that those in the organization, couldn't come back and try to sue them for something like that. I don't know. Not a lawyer. And lastly, you know what, man? I could honestly care less. But I think it's an important conversation to have because there are those who went through a lot to earn that. And I think that if the people who earned it, the people who are a part of it have an issue with it, it's something to at least address. Just because you have an issue doesn't mean we have to do anything about it. But at least we listen and we address it. Because, let me see, where are my notes for this one at? There we go. I reached out to some AKs that I know. And I asked them how they felt about the matter. Now, shout out to my ghostwriters. I won't say their name here, but thank you for your perspective. I had one. What did she say? She was like, this isn't the first time Insecure did this. I think it was an unnecessary detail or they could have made up a sorority. It annoyed me more when she and Molly walked up to each other and greeted each other with a weird, skewy, and Amanda's character was stuck up and snooty with blonde hair. Felt like the same negativity stereotype of AKAs, but every season she and Molly have had some sort of nail on. So pretty much this person was like, hey man, you're hitting all these stereotypes about my sorority, and I don't like it. You know, you're using a language, you're wearing our clothes, you false claiming, but you ain't us. You know, if you go to somebody's hood, man, you're supposed to check in, right? You know, you don't see people just walking around with blue flags on, but they ain't real Crips. And if they are, there's real Crips out here who address it. But nonetheless, this is Hollywood. This is acting. This is somebody giving their depiction of true events and they're recreating them for the world to consume. So, as much as one can be bothered by the depiction, I ask the question, is the stereotype true? I mean, because what is a stereotype could be painfully honest for some, but extremely false for others. What could be paying homage or homage can be taken as disrespect. And do I think that Issa Rae was setting out to disrespect the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated when she created this character and they created these scenes? No. But if I was a member of that organization and you have somebody who is being stereotypically what people say the AKAs are, you know, Sadiddy, light skin, and now she got the blonde hair, you know, which is, you know, colored hair, you know, thinking they're above other black people. These are stereotypes that I've heard and not necessarily witnessed myself, because again, I reached out to some people in the organization who could give me some feedback. And maybe that's her reality of the organization, or maybe she was just trying to say, hey, we're going to stereotypically cast this character to act this way because this is what people can identify with this group. I don't know what she was doing, but I do know that her intent may not have been disrespectful, but the delivery is what matters. And you can't tell someone that they can't be disrespected. And I'm one who will tell people, you shouldn't feel disrespected by that. But ultimately, if something makes you feel, you know, trigger, if it disrespects you, only thing I can do if I disrespect you is apologize and try to explain where I was coming from to give you a better understanding of what this conversation was about or what this action was about, to kind of let you know. But ultimately, you ain't got to buy that either. You can be like, nah, not rocking. There was disrespect, and I don't stand for disrespect. So let me go to another text I received. And the question was, why could they have not gotten a real AKA to play the part? I don't know. I don't watch the show. Or make up a sorority for her to be in. And then the follow-up was that they get permission. Obviously they didn't because of what I previously read. And then the response I got was, then she should not have been wearing anything representing AKA. So what I think Issa was trying to do was, again, with well intention, but like any other shows, like what, A Different World, they had real fraternities and sororities on there, but those characters did not have like speaking parts. And I'm pretty sure they just grabbed extras from the AUC to fill those roles because they were actual members of those Greek organizations. And then you had the actual fraternities that the characters were in, and they were some made up fraternities. So who cares? You look at Stomp the Yard, the Thetas. Like, bro, who are the Thetas? Nobody. It was a made up organization, so that it was so actors were allowed to do that and carry on whatever rituals and do the steps and strolls or whatever. So maybe Issa could have tried to, you know, come up with a different thing. Maybe she could have went like KAK or something like that. I don't know, Kappa Alpha Kappa. And, you know, I don't know if that's an actual organization, and you know, change the colors up a little bit. So then there would be less outburst about it. But ultimately, I don't think this should be again, speaking as a non-Greek person, I don't think this is something we should put a lot of time and effort into, because who was actually hurt? What was actually like? What damage was actually done from this? Did anybody die? Did anybody get hurt? Is anybody losing money? Was shame brought to the organization? Because if it wasn't, like I said, man, just move past it. If you don't like it, don't watch the show, write letters, and hope that your sorority takes the proper action to correct this. But again, but I want to close this out by saying, excuse me, I did have to burp. I want to close it out by saying that, again, what can be homage can be taken as disrespect. So watch what you say, watch what you do, and watch how you represent others, because the last thing you want to do is misrepresent somebody who you're trying to big up. So let's get a little bit darker here. And I'm not talking about skin, I'm talking about topics. That was a bad joke. And I saw this post that caught my attention today, and I was thoroughly confused by it. Thoroughly confused. And here we go. The judge in Kyle Rittenhouse trial says lawyers cannot call the two people he killed victims. Hold on, I gotta read that again, because I'm confused too, little shawty. The judge in Kyle Rittenhouse's trial says lawyers cannot call the two people he killed victims. Rittenhouse killed two people and wounded another with an AR-15 style weapon. The judge says victim is too loaded, but will let lawyers call them rioters, looters, or arsonists. Excuse me? Rioters, looters, arsonists. All could be true. But lastly, they're victims. You know why they're victims? Because they're not here anymore. They're gone. They were, for the sake of legality, allegedly murdered in cold blood by someone who was taking justice into their own hands. Somebody who crossed state lines to go to a protest and kill those who disagreed with his ideology. How in the world are you, the judge here? How are you seeking justice when you won't even allow the attorneys to be honest in describing the victims of the event in question? Were they rioting? Were they burning anything? Or are you looping, or are you grouping them into the category of the few and not of the many? Are you not grouping them with the reason they were out there protesting? Because there have been far too many victims of police violence in this country and vigilante justice without proper consequences being given to those offenders. And now we have another one, and you can't call them victims. Well, I ask, if I'm an attorney, I go, if I can't call the two people that he killed in cold blood victims, can I call him a killer? Can I refer to him as Kyle Rittenhouse? This killer here, Kyle Rittenhouse. Can I refer to him as that? Or is that too loaded? Will that confuse the jury, or that give the jury bias if I call him a killer, which he is? Or can I even just say, hey, the alleged murderer, the murderer in question? Because words matter. Words paint a picture. And when we start restricting words to describe those and to describe events, we can't tell the whole story. We can't tell the truth. And how do we expect a jury to make the proper decision in a very serious case if the picture can't be painted with all of the colors? Like, just imagine you're painting, right? And you get a G. You get the Georgia Bulldog G, or the Grambling State G, or the Green Bay Packers G. And they don't let you paint the G. They don't let you drop it on a background. Guess what happens? We don't know what G that is. We don't know if it's Green Bay. We don't know if it's Georgia. We don't know if it's Grambling. We don't know if it's some random high school that we've never heard of, right? Because we don't have all of the colors there. That is the same thing as not allowing these lawyers to refer to these victims by who they truly are. Victims. And if you don't want more victims, if you don't want more looting, and you don't want more arson, you might want to revisit how you're presiding over this case. Because there are those in this country, I'm not one, and I'm not one who's trying to incite anything. I'm not one who's pumping them up. I'm not one who's going to reach out to them. But there are some in that area. If that verdict doesn't go a certain way, if they don't feel like justice is being served, you may have round two, because you're going to have people in the streets protesting, mostly peacefully, protesting the lack of justice. Because at this point, you're giving people a free pass to carry out vigilante justice, because the cause that is being fought for is the cause that you and the alleged murderer are fighting against. Now, who's the real victim here? Is it him or is it them? Let's get it. We just threw Buddy out from center field to end the eighth inning in the Braves game. And in the spirit of shooting, man, I saw a nasty post as well, man. And I don't really talk about stuff like this on here often, because it really hurts my heart reading this stuff, man. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Man kills unarmed motorist who parked in his driveway to look for directions, bonds out hours later in Texas. Figures. Word to the wise, you probably don't want to pull into someone's driveway if you're looking for directions and you don't know them. I'd recommend pulling on the side of the road, pulling into a gas station, maybe just pulling up in front of the house, but again, not in the driveway, because I can understand how that would make one uncomfortable. But a Texas man was allowed to bond out just hours after murdering an unarmed motorist who parked in his driveway. The shooting took place on October 11th at 3:42 a.m. in the Martindale area. When Caldwell County Sheriff Office responded, they located 31-year-old, I can't say this man's name, suffering from serious injuries. Sadly, he died shortly after at a nearby hospital. The man who pulled the trigger, Terry Turner, told authorities that he noticed an unknown vehicle parked next to his truck in his driveway with its lights off. At 3:42, that's scary to me. Turner retrieved his gun and confronted the motorist, who had cut his lights on and put the car in reverse. So he was leaving. Turner then followed the vehicle on foot, shooting at the driver's side door. He phoned 911 to confess that he just killed a guy, but claimed that the guy had pointed a gun at him first. However, there was no gun found in the victim's vehicle. Oh, he's a victim. That's great. I'm glad we can use that word properly. The guy was a Moroccan national, leading several to believe that the shooting was racially motivated. His girlfriend told CNN that she believes her boyfriend had gotten lost in the area and pulled over to look for directions when Turner killed him. He immigrated to the United States in 2013 and received his master's degree from Johnson & Wales University. All right. So, again, more killing of black people, people of color, unarmed by white people. So, when you look back at the Kyle Rittenhouse piece and you say that you can't call these people who were shot and killed victims, it further perpetuates what these people were fighting against, because then you see this case where this guy shoots and kills somebody, lies and says he had a gun. There was no gun. And what happens? He's out of jail in a few hours. I mean, a DUI would leave you in there longer than that. And I guess I'm so bothered by this because, for one, he lied. Two, he killed the man. And three, the guy was leaving. I can understand being alarmed by a random car in your driveway at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:42 in the morning. That would bother me too. That would upset me too. That would lead me to call the police or go outside with my gun. Yes. Yes, those. But once you get out there and you see the guy leaving, what are you doing? Take down his tag number, call the police and say, hey, this guy was in my driveway, trespassing on my property, made me uncomfortable. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. What are you doing here? If you're lost, pull over elsewhere. Don't pull over here in my yard. So, but the fact that he killed him, and then he was able to just walk out like nothing happened, it's beyond me. And I just want the same fairness for everybody here in America. Somebody infringes upon my property, infringes upon my rights, infringes upon my comfort. That's really what it is. Somebody made him uncomfortable, so that gave him license to kill. And if discomfort is the license to kill, and we continue to allow that precedent to exist, we're going to have chaos on our hands. We're going to have the Hunger Games on our hands. Oh, no, excuse me, the Purge. I haven't seen the Hunger Games. Because Kyle Rittenhouse was also made uncomfortable by those who were acting in the street. And then that same judge who was presiding over his case was made uncomfortable by those who were killed being called victims. And this guy was made uncomfortable by, the guy pulling into his yard. And guess what? This discomfort appears to be excusing murder. And if discomfort is an excuse for murder, I don't know what to say, man. We're all headed to hell. DJ TJ needs to STFU. Okay. So I'm sure all of you, or most of you, are aware of what happened on the set of a movie that Alec Baldwin was recording. While recording, if I can find Instagram, that would be great. If I could pull up my notes. Alec Baldwin accidentally, there was a mistake where Alec Baldwin pointed a prop gun and was acting, and it happened to be loaded, and he killed someone. Where most people paid their respects to the fallen, sent their condolences to the family, had sympathy for Alec Baldwin, sent prayers his way, because I can't imagine what Alec was going through and what he's going through now, because he's acting, he's doing what he's dedicated his life to. And while doing that, he accidentally killed someone. Now, I'm not going to speculate how that gun became hot, who loaded it, and what their intentions were, because I'm sure they were malicious. But I want to get to DJ TJ creating a shirt that says guns don't kill people, Alec Baldwin kills people. Like, how sick do you have to be? How disgusting do you have to be? How insensitive do you have to be? How offended, how little, how insecure do you have to be to do something like that? Like, what is your goal? What is your end state? What do you seek to accomplish from selling these shirts? Is it all about the dollar that much? Or are you so bothered by what he said about your dad when he made fun of him on SNL? So now that's your way of getting back at him? You know what, DJ TJ?
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Like, it's absolutely just disgusting, man. It's appalling. I don't even know what to say to it. I don't know how to respond to it I I just man, you need some help. You need a hug. You need a dad to love you and tell you it's gonna be okay, champ. Because I just can't fathom why you do this, who in your camp told you this was okay, and whoever would buy one of those t-shirts, man. You know, I hope your boss sees it and you come into work the next day and you just hear these words.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Look at me out here trying to cancel somebody, using cancel culture, telling people to get fired for some stuff. And I don't necessarily, no, you know what? I ain't gonna say they should get fired. I just think it's bullshit, man. It's just total bullshit. Like, how can you be so cruel? Like, how could you celebrate somebody dying and trying to just capitalize off of it, man? Damn it, I know this is a capitalist country, but we don't have to make money off of everything. Let somebody grieve in peace. But anyways, on to our next topic, man. I don't know if any of you all seen this, but apparently they get crazy on first dates in China. Chinese man and woman go on a blind date. And I guess the guy did not get to notice that their family reunion was going on at the same restaurant. You know, the reservation that he had for two was actually a part of their reservation for 25, see, because she brought 23 family members with her on a first date, a blind date, to see how giving and loving her date was. And he was so loving and giving that he left her with $3,100 in fees to the restaurant to feed her family. Because this ain't no charity, baby. Let me tell you something. It's one thing to hear the jokes about, I'm bringing my homegirl on a date. With who? Not me. I'm not here to hang out with your homegirl. Or even, can I bring my kid along? Can you get a babysitter? I mean, if you have to, sure, but I don't know if I should be getting to know your kid as I'm getting to know you on a date, especially a blind date. But hold on. You talking about a family reunion? You done call Roscoe Jenkins to come into town and everything for this? You just skipped Medea's house. You just want to come to Roof Chris, huh? 23 people. I mean, y'all came in multiple cars. Y'all had to coordinate. And I'm just supposed to sit here and foot this bill? Man, please, the only foot I got for you is up your ass. Not literally, figuratively. I would never stick my foot up a woman's ass. But the audacity of this woman to think that it's okay to show up with her family? I don't even know you. You bring your family. I don't even want to get to know these people. What is just? I'm just trying to, wine and dine, and you know what I mean. I don't want to get to know your family. Now you bring these people around me. Like, how are we gonna get to know each other and your mama right there? How will make some nasty jokes and your grandmama just sitting right next to me? You know what I mean? Your little cousin, your son is right there. Come on now. Like, it's one thing to test someone's niceness to see if they're really into you or if they're here for sex. There's nothing wrong with that. But find a better way to do it. And salute to this guy for leaving her with that bill. I would have paid for my food. I would have paid for nothing else. And guess what? Her ass would have been stuck with that $3,100 check just like she was. Because that's the only way to do it. And unfortunately, my man thought, he was going to be able to bring these rocks to her, right? He thought he was going to bring these rocks to her and that she was going to, he's going to be able to get them off with her. Just get these rocks off. Like, here, baby, here, these rocks. Hold these. Thank you. Oh, my God, I feel so much better. Now I just need to go to sleep. But instead, he had to take the advice of the scholar and the prophet, Kevin Gates, and he had to practice semen retention that night because there was no release of semen after that. There was no semen. Please, there's no way that. Oh, I spelled semen wrong. Let me fix that real quick. There's no way in hell that he was gonna be able to get his rocks off because she brought the whole family on the date. But Kevin Gates, man, he had some advice for y'all. He said you shouldn't ejaculate during sex. Instead, you should practice semen retention. Let's hear it.
Another thing I was
I'm on a
telling
journey.
you that's like really healing to your body. It's gonna sound crazy. It's semen retention, not releasing no semen. You need to have sex. You can have sex, but your intention should be to please your partner. And don't release no semen. If you feel like you about to release, stop. Let it it's gonna heal your central nervous system and everything. I engage in a lot of foreplay because I aim to please my partner. So when I say foreplay, I mean I like to kiss everything. That's just me. I aim to please my partner, whatever partner that I'm dealing with at the time. Can I make you squirt? I'm not a squirter. Let me. Another thing I was telling you.
We're gonna listen to this again. I gotta take some notes, man.
To your body. It's gonna sound crazy. It's semen retention, not releasing no semen. You need to have sex. You can have sex, but your intention should be to please your partner. And don't release no semen. If you feel like you about to release, stop. And let it it's gonna heal your central nervous system and everything. I engage in a lot of foreplay because I aim to please my partner. So when I say foreplay, I mean I like to kiss everything.
All right, so in recent history, I've cleaned this podcast up some. I don't really get into the details of my extracurriculars, specifically my sex life. I don't, because honestly, it's not y'all's business. And every now and then, I bring it up for entertainment. But then my life changed. Honestly, I was in a relationship, so I did not want y'all to be able to point, like sexual experiences and stories to the person I was with if you knew who I was with at the time, because she didn't choose to be on a podcast. She just chose a podcaster as a partner. So semen retention is healthy. Let me tell you what feels terrible is blue balls. It's one of the worst feelings in the world. And as men, we have spent our lives, our sex having lives, to avoid that feeling ever again. So why in the world, Kevin Gates, would I set myself up for something I've been fighting against my whole life? Why would I request blue balls? Your aim is to please your partner. Man, look here, you can aim your partner and give and them rocks that you try to get rid of, shit, and she can have them too. You can please her by getting your rocks off. I mean, some partners aren't pleased if you don't get your rocks off, because they think they're not good enough. They were like, well, I didn't please my partner because my partner didn't climax. My partner didn't orgasm. What about that now? Now, see, Kevin Gates, I think you and Kyrie Irving, y'all done read too much bullshit. Y'all done got too in touch with yourself that you done lost sight of the world. You know, like you talking about, please, you in the foreplay. I love foreplay too. Yeah, I love to play the four. Play the 4 minutes. No, I'm joking, but yeah, I like foreplay, kissing, licking on stuff, all types of stuff like that. I don't have a problem going to the extra mile to please my partner because I understand that, you know, good foreplay pleases the partner. Great foreplay, yes, it pleases your partner. And sometimes what you do before, if you got good foreplay, you ain't got to do too much after. You can just go in there and please yourself. But to act like this semen retention is something that's like groundbreaking, it's good for your central nervous system, man, show me the Carfax, bro. Cite your sources. Where'd you get that from? Who told you that? Cause I hear sex is a stress reliever, so semen, letting your semen out, you know, ejaculation relieves stress. Who the hell trying to be pent up with all that stress and tension? Walking around with blue balls, unhappy. It's sick. It's uncomfortable. And sex, honestly, bro, let me tell you something. Sex is not for pleasure. We get pleasure from it. And we do it for pleasure, but its original intention is for repopulation. So miss me with the goal of sex is to please you. No, the goal of sex is to have a kid. Now, I'm all for pleasing my partner. All about pleasing my partner. Because if you please your partner, you turn get pleased and you have a great sexual experience. And if nobody's having fun during sex, then what are you doing it for? But Kevin Gates, I just think you're off. And here's what scares me though, because you talk about pleasing your partner, and that's what sex is about. But what about your partner pleasing you? And I'm afraid that you are trying to be in control of everything and control the situation because you go, I'm pleasing my partner and I'm going to get mine later. Like, well, no, it's a give and take. Because now what you're telling me is you are in control of the relationship and what is what and who is who. Because what if your partner says, I'm not pleased until I please you? What if she says, I can get mine on my own, easy, but I want to get you yours? I think that goes against your ignorant ass logic, Mr. Gates. Now, I told y'all a woman who listens to Kevin Gates, you can't trust her, she cheats. But now I'm going to tell you anybody who listens to Kevin Gates and takes his advice, especially on sex and semen retention, is a dummy. It's a big old dummy. I need to get that Fred sound for talking about you big dummy. That's gonna be an ad lib we're gonna add for the next show because I mean this is absolutely stupid. I just think he's a control freak. And he just wants to be in charge of his woman and everything that she does and her joy. And I'm not okay with that. Not okay with that at all. But who am I? I'm just a big baby. We falling, big baby. Braves win game 1 of the World Series. We're up 1-0. Good job, Bravos. Good job, Bravos. Okay, last topic of the day. I may do a couple more because I'm feeling good. I can keep going, honestly. I feel like Rich Homie Quan. I'll never stop going in. Let's see. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Hold on. I'm looking for it, man. I apologize.
Tiffany is a
no.
You're not all going to like this.
Here we go. Too many men are used to seeing their mom do it all and think their woman should too. And too many women are used to seeing their dad do it all and they think their man should too. We can play this game. But look, man, I'm not your mama. I'm not trying to be your mama. Excuse me. You're not my mama. And I don't want you to try to be my mama. I want you to be my woman. If I was looking for a mother, I would call her. I have her number. I'd go to her house. I spend time with her. You know what I mean? I'm looking for a lady. Now, if you think that there aren't certain things that I learned from my mother, I observed from my mother that showed me what womanhood looks like, then you're crazy because, yes, that was my first view of womanhood. Now, fortunately for me, and fortunately for whoever dates me, I've lived by myself since I was 23. Not had a roommate. Short period of time while in a relationship, I had a roommate. But other than that, I've not had a roommate, which means I know how to maintain a household. I know how to cook. I know how to clean. I know how to pay bills. I know how to, prioritize, create budgets. I know how to do all of that stuff. So I don't really need much from you. I need a little bit of conversation, a foot rub, a belly rub, and you know what? I gotta have some semen release. We ain't on the Kevin Gates. We don't need no semen ejaculation. No semen retention. No. The only ones who are gonna be. I need you to be accepting of the semen. Okay. But I think this quote is interesting because a lot of people expect from their partner what their parents gave them. And I don't think you can knock them for that because that's their view of reality. And it takes time, experience, and honestly, finding a person who's worth sacrificing for in order to do it. But I think we've gone so far in society today that we've become so independent that we don't want to serve others. When I talk about what happened to our community earlier, same thing here. Yes, I want you to come home and cook me a meal. What's wrong with that? Don't you want to cook me a meal? Don't you want to make me happy? No, I don't mind taking the trash off. It's heavy. You're not as strong. You need me to hang these cabinets, these shelves. Okay, I got you. You need me to take your car to get your oil changed? Because I'm not changing it, but I'll take it. I mean, you can sit in that waiting room just like I do, but cool, I got you. I think this is more of an attack on gender roles, which is okay. I have no issue with us attacking traditional gender roles, but relationships are give and take. So if you grew up with a single mom who done everything, don't expect that from your partner because she's not single. She's with you. Stupid. But also, partner, communicate what it is that you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do. Both ways. Talk about it. Establish the parameters in which your relationship will operate. Like, let me tell you, I was in a relationship and I was working from home. So the general expectation was for me to do a lot of stuff, honestly. I had no problem with it because I was at home. Wash dishes, wash clothes, either cook or have food out for dinner by the time she got home. And there were no issues there because in return, what I was like, hey, you wash, I fold. I wash, you fold. I'm not making up the bed. I'm not a big bed maker upper, guys. Sorry. So if you want the bed make it up. I'll do the BS cleaning day in and day out, sweeping. I'll mop. Well, she did a lot of sweeping. I did a lot of mopping. But you get what I'm saying? But when it's time to Saturday deep clean, that's on you, baby. Why? Because I've been doing the wiping down, the grocery shop, and all the little stuff that you couldn't do, or that you couldn't do during the day because I was at home all day working from home. And it worked. It's called give and take. It's not just give, or just take. And it's not that I'm the man, so I got to do the outside work. I got to cut the grass. And I got no. Or I'm the woman, so I ain't got to cook and clean and wash the dishes and wash the clothes. No. It's you find what works for you and you do it. Well, I'm the man, so I'm the breadwinner. Well, what if she is actually the breadwinner and she makes more money than you? This is not industrial America where you're putting in 60 hours at the factory every week and she's a secretary or she's a homemaker. So I think what's happened as society has changed, gender roles have changed, and honestly, nobody knows what it is that they're gonna be. But just like she says, I'm not your mama, I'll tell her, hey, bro, I'm not your daddy. I'm not trying to be your daddy. I will never be your daddy. I'm just a big baby.
Holla at the baby. Holla at the baby.
And you know what? I could continue talking, but I don't want to. I hope you all enjoyed this podcast, man. I really wanted to hit on the Dave Chappelle piece. I really did because, and you know what? I'm going to talk about Dave Chappelle. Why? Because this is my podcast, and I can do that. Let's create a ticker for Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle talked about what's been going on since he's had his run-in with the LGBTQ plus community, right? And I thought it was a great conversation. And I thought what he did was important because I came on here and I championed what Dave did. Now, let me see if I can find the Instagram post of Dave coming out and discussing what he's going to do as far as this instance goes, because he said he's willing to talk, but it has to be under the right circumstances. And I send a lot of stuff to group text, and some of the stuff sticks, some of it doesn't. So let me try to find the right group text that I sent this to so that we can get some of Dave's quotes, because without the quotes from his mouth, I think we miss a little bit here. Let me see. And damn it, I didn't send it to this group either. See, I've got to do a better job about the things I send to group. So let me see. I know it's in the pod crew group, and we haven't been too active in that group, so I should be able to find it. Talk about a man killing dead air. Amon Shumpert was on Dancing with the Stars, and he did a dance to like the I've Got 5 on It from Us. And let me tell you, that's one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. And I have no intentions of watching that movie ever. Ever. Again. Damn, did I not send this Dave post to anybody? I guess not, but let me see. I know it's on here. No.
Another thing I was telling you.
No.
Really
Kevin.
healing to your body.
Yeah, that's not healing to anybody's body. You stop that nonsense, Kevin Gates. Because Dave essentially tells y'all that he ain't rocking with the nonsense. And that's what I love so much about Dave Chappelle, is that he stands on what he believes in. He's his own man, and he's put himself in a position to do that. And I think that's the goal of all creators, to be able to put yourself in a position that you can stand on your morals, you can stand on your values, and not be pushed by society to do stuff that you don't want to do. Here we go.
I want everyone in this audience to know.
And I'm getting this from the Neighborhood Talk.
Even though the media frames this, that it's me versus that community, it's not what it is. Do not blame the LGBTQ community for any of this shit. This has nothing to do with them. It's about corporate interests and what I can say and what I cannot say.
Holla at the baby. Holla at the baby.
For the record, and I need you to know this, everyone I know from that community has been nothing but loving and supporting. so I don't know what all this nonsense is about. In summer 2020, when the whole world shut down, I was outside doing shows. My neighbor had a cornfield and he let me throw shows there, and people came from all over the country. Some people came. I want everyone in this audience around the world to see those shows. The best comedians on earth came to my home and broke bread with me. And we lived our lives. We found a way to keep moving forward. I made a whole documentary about it. The first night of those shows was a piece that some of you might have seen. It was called 846, and it dealt with the murder of George Floyd. This film that I made was invited to every film festival in the United States, and some of those invitations I accepted. And when this controversy came out about the closer, they began disinviting me from these film festivals. And now, today, not a friend in the world, not a movie studio, not a film festival, nobody will touch this film. Thank God for Ted Sarandos at Netflix. He's the only one that didn't cancel me yet. To the transgender community, I am more than willing to give you an audience, but you will not summon me. I am not bending to anybody's demands. And if you want to meet with me, I'd be more than willing to, but I have some conditions. First of all, you cannot come if you have not watched my special from beginning to end. You're not a movie studio.
I just wanted to put that drop in
You
there.
must come to a place of my choosing and a time of my choosing.
Talk that talk, Dave.
And thirdly, you must admit that Hannah Gatsby is not funny. I desperately want people to see this movie, but I understand why investors would be nervous. Since nobody will touch it, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will make it available for all of you in 10 American cities, going on sale in the next few days. You will be able to see this movie in its entirety, and you can see what they're trying to obstruct you from seeing. And you can judge for yourself, but you cannot have this conversation and exclude my voice from it. That is only fair. You have to answer the question, am I canceled or not? Then let's go. Thank you very much. And good.
So I wanted to play all of that for you all. So again, so it fully frames my comments. So shout out to the neighborhood talk. They won't hear this, but I wanted to just make sure I shouted them out because this is where I got it from. So a few things from there, man. Dave doubles down. He stands on what he said. And so often we have people in the public eye, soon as they get pushed back, they backpedal. And Dave is like, bruh, no, man, I play offense. I'm a receiver. I don't backpedal. I run downfield. And when I get open, I expect the ball. And then if I score, I'm going to score again. And if I score again, I'm going to score again. I'm going to keep asking for the ball. Why? Because I'm that guy. And it's crazy that one of our most reasonable voices, one of our best voices is a comedian. But if you look down at years of stand-up comedy, that wouldn't shock you. But the way that comedians are framed, they're framed as if they're the court jester, when truly they act as our kings. And oddly enough, the court jesters are those who are working in government because they just babble off all types of crazy nonsense and like it's truth, and it's not. So when I hear Dave come out and say this, and then he shows the disassociation that came with what he's doing, not because of what it is, it's because of the response to it. These corporate interests, they don't care about the product itself. They're not offended by the product itself. They're just offended by the backlash. And that's bullshit. And then you get him talking about, hey, bro, look here. It's not me versus the LGBTQ plus. It's me versus the media and corporate interests. And when people start talking about, that Sixth Sense, that puppeteer, that Geppetto, that other entity that we don't see, the Illuminati type conversations, this is what we're talking about, or what they're talking about, because I rarely talk about it. When I talk about wanting to be in the media because I'm not of the media, it's because of stuff like this. Because again, when we're talking about the painting, and when you take away certain colors from the picture, it's not going to be the same, because that Packers G is no longer a Packers G, it's a UGA G, which is a Grambling G now. You know what I mean? So when the media tells the story, they tell the story that they want to be told, not the story that needs to be told, right? They don't always tell the truth, they tell their truth. You understand what I'm saying? They tell it from their perspective, from their vantage point, to push their narrative, their objectives. And when they can trash somebody like Dave Chappelle, because it's so easy to trash people on the internet, but go out in real life, because what happens on Twitter is not real life. I've been telling y'all this forever. Twitter ain't the real world. Twitter is Twitter. Instagram is Instagram. Talk about, I don't see natural, that's my woman. I don't see these natural women no more. Bro, go outside. There's natural women everywhere. Every time I see a dude, he got chains, he got this, he got money. Like, bro, I'm telling you, some brokies out here in real life, baby. We out here. So what Dave is saying is, bro, the people who control the narratives are the ones that are pumping this anti-LGBTQ plus nonsense into your head. And who am I to tell him he's wrong? I believe him. And the thing that I love about Dave is that he's gonna be Dave. You're not gonna stop him from being Dave. No one's controlling Dave but Dave. COVID hit, you can't do anything. He took to the cornfields. Rogan goes to Austin. He links up with Rogan some in Austin, but he takes to the cornfields because he goes, hey, I'm a comedian. I have to do comedy. And you're going to close all the comedy clubs. You're not going to stop me from doing comedy in person. I'm going to do comedy in front of people. So we're going to go on private property. We're going to have COVID protocols, and we're going to do private comedy shows. And your comedy club closure is not going to stop me. The doc, y'all don't want to show it. But y'all done seen it already. It's like the Ray Rice video. Goodell had seen it already. The Ravens had seen it already. They had made their decision on what they were going to do, and then the public got mad and said, oh, no, we can't do this. You might piss people off. The difference between Ray Rice and Dave Chappelle is Dave is still in his prime. Dave is still going to sell, so guess what? You stand with Dave, you stand with money. Yeah. The check still going to cash. The view still going to come. So why not? Unless you're trying to promote a narrative or not be tied to someone who you can't control. I don't know, but whatever the case is, I think it's nasty. But when he talks about those from the LGBTQ plus community who want to talk to him, yeah, we can talk, but it's on my terms. And what he's essentially saying is, bro, I don't need you. And what Dave has showed us throughout his career is, I don't need nobody. I'm so damn good. I don't need nobody. No one's ever gonna come up into Dave, call Dave's phone, walk into Dave's house, walk into Dave's office and be talking some nonsense like,
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
if they even thought about it, I could imagine him just being like,
Holla at the baby. Holla at the baby.
you know what I mean? Like, how you gonna come talk to me like that? I'm Dave Chappelle. You know what we do around here? Your fingers smell me. So like, hey, yeah, we can have that conversation. But first, you got to listen to what I said. Because if you're going to attack me for what I said and you didn't hear it, there's nothing to talk about here. If you're outraged because the internet told you to be outraged, there's nothing to talk about here. But what I love about Dave and what I love about what he's doing is he doubles down on what he believes in. He's not confined to so many of the constructs that a lot of us are or feel that we are, because no, he can do what he wants. He's profitable no matter what. If Netflix decides to stop doing business with him and Dave wants to go direct to consumer, he can. And it'll sell. Because he's Dave flipping Chappelle. What has he done that hasn't worked? And to close out, yes, it's crazy that a comedian is the voice of a generation. But when all the voices of the generation are just lying and only speaking to the people who want to hear what they have to say, the ears stop listening. We stop believing what they're saying because we know they're only saying what it is that people want to hear and not what they need to hear. This is why I could just never see myself in politics. I don't want to say the things you want me to say. I want to say the things that you need to say, because sometimes you need to hear, hey, bro, nah, you're wrong. Hey, those people on the other side that we don't like, yeah, they're making a lot of sense. We should probably go with that. Hey, we should listen to the actual people that we're representing. Hey, let's take a stance that's not popular because it's the right stance. Hey, let's alienate some assholes even though they have a lot of money and a lot of power. Yeah, let's do that because they're terrible. And that's what Dave does. So, the song is like Mike, if I could be like Mike. No, man. Like Dave. If I could behave like Dave. Big baby out.